In this lesson, we'll be covering for loop or the collection for loop. Most of the time when you hear for loop, this is what's going to be referred to. So the syntax of the for loop is for, then you're going to have your variable, and then your list or set, whatever you want to iterate through. So this is going to be your collection, and it has to be a list or a set, and we'll go through a couple of different variations of this. So I want to make sure that everybody is familiar with this type of loop, especially because you're going to be seeing the for loop a lot, and it's going to be in this manner. The other loops, they're there and they are used every once in a while. This one is definitely used the majority of the time. So I want to make sure that everybody is familiar with it. And then within the for loop, you have your block of code that's going to be executing, and that's going to execute each time that you run through each record within record or integer within the list. So the first one I'm going to do is we'll go through a list of integers, and then just take a look and see what happens when we run through. So int list equal to new list integer. Okay, and then we'll put in a couple of integers. I'll do 1, 5, 6, 8, 9, 1. Okay, so now we're going to have our list. Next is to do the for loop. So with the for loop, we still, Apex is strongly typed, so we still have to make sure that when we have our variable that we have the type, so we want integer, and then this is essentially declaring the variable that we can use within this block of code. So I'm going to call integer, int is a reserved name, so I'll just call it record, which doesn't denote it very well as to what it is, but that's okay. So every time we go through this for loop, it's going to go through this list, and we will use record. I'm actually going to just switch it to X instead. That way it's less confusing. So if we debug X, and then run this, we can see within the debug, it's running through the list, and each time we're debugging, it's going through the next index of that list. So each iteration through, it's going through it. So now what I want to do is this time we'll go through a set, because we can go through a list or a set, and then we'll do a set of strings this time. We'll call it string set. So new set string, and we'll do this is the best dev course ever. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be creating a map. And we're not going to use the map quite yet. We'll do it soon. I just want to create it and show within this next set what we're going to be doing with the map. So I want the map to be integer and string. And then new map. Integer string. And then we won't have it start with anything or instantiate it with anything. We'll just declare that map. So then what I want to do is a for loop. And what we want to do is we want to loop through the set. So we'll do a string, and I'll just call it str for the variable, and then we want to go through the string set. So what I want to do this time is I want to put the string and the length of the string into the map. So we're going to use the length of the string as the key and then the string as the value. Now the length of these, some of these are the same, so it's not all of these are not going to be going through, and the final product of the map is not going to have all of them. We'll take a look and see. But the reason why is next I want to go through what we can do with maps and for loops. So then if I go through int str map and then put, so I want the length of the string to be the key, and then I want the string as the value. And then I will just debug so we can see that we're iterating through all of them. And then I want to debug the map at the end as well. Now notice how I have the debug outside of this for loop. The reason being is that each time this goes through, we're going to be iterating through and we'd be running this system debug. I don't want to see the map as it's being built. I want to see it after it's being built. So then we run that and we can see in the debug, this is the best dev course ever. And then in the map, we see for 2 as the key, we're going to get is, 3 is dev, 4 is best, 5 is ever, 6 is course. Now we can see for 4, we also had this, but because this was the first one that we went through, we first put that into the map, but then it was overwritten by best afterwards. And that's because with the map, the key is going to be a set. The string is a list, so the string could have duplicates, but the key for the map cannot. So then to go through the map, what we can do is, let's first go through the keys. So we want to do integer, because the key is an integer, and then we'll call it x again, and then this time we want to use, I'll get the map, and then there is a method called key set. So this is going to return the key set. So the return is a set, and then I can loop through, and this time we'll just debug and we'll see the key set values. And as we can see right here, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that should be what gets returned in the debug. Variable does not exist. I will comment out all of this. Actually, I can't comment out all of this because I need to still run through the for loop and put those in there as I run. There we go. Okay, so now we have debug 4, 2, 3, 6, and 5. And sets are unordered, so that's why it's not, we don't see it in numerical value. So next what I can do is I can loop through the values. And to do that, the value is going to be a string. So we have string, just do str, and then we want to loop through the map. And And for the map, there is a method called values, and that's going to return a list. So then I can do system.debug str, and then this, I need to comment out this loop because we don't need that one anymore. And then as we can see here, for the debug, we have the values of best is dev course ever. Now the next thing that we can do is, let's say that we need to use if we are running through a map and we need to get both the key and the string. Let's say the key is we'll go with an external ID. And so you need to, for some reason, use that external ID along with whatever is in the value in the for loop. So what you can do is you can do for, and then we want to loop through using the key set. So again, if we do integer, so I can actually, we will comment out this one, and we will uncomment this. Since we already have that one done, so we're running through the map, getting the integer and then the key set. And now with that, I can use the map with the get method. So this is going to get the value. And first what I'll do is I'll just print out the key. So we'll do key plus, and then the key is x plus, and then we'll add value and plus. So when we run through this is going to debug the key and then the value as well. Now I can see the key is 4, value is best, key is 2, value is 3 is dev, 6 is course, 5 is ever. So that's if you needed to go loop through a map and get both the key and the value. And the reason why you can't just loop through a map is because in the for loops, it doesn't allow you to loop through a map directly. So the other thing that we can do is we can loop through a list of S-objects. So let's say we have an account list. We'll use what we've been using with the other loops. So select ID name from account, limit 10. And then we'll do for. And then we have to name it or declare the account, and then name it the variable. We'll do ACCT, and then go through the account list, and then I will just system.debug the account. So this is the most common way that you're going to see looping through a list of S-objects. As I can see here, we loop through all 10 of them, the account, and then the ID name. So you can see each record for the account that we loop through. And that's your for loops.